Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Thanks for joining me today. Another episode of Semen Retention Talk, and today I'm going to be talking about what am I talking about today? Stepping into your power, transforming yourself in this exciting time. So thanks everyone who joined my online workshop last night. It was a big success. A lot of people showed up. It was a lot of fun. It was exciting. So yeah, and also registration for my 6-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, is officially open. It's going to be open till the 17th, so check that out. There's a link in this video on YouTube right now. You can scroll down and check that out. Instagram, there's a link in my bio to check that out. So hey, you joined. Awesome, brother. I'm really excited to have you. Congratulations. So let's see, what are we getting into today? I'll be covering questions at the end of this as always. So just want to talk a little bit about, again, stepping into your power. We're at an incredible time. We are at a very transformational time. There's so many changes happening at an accelerated rate. And, this is difficult for a lot of people who aren't able to, navigate through these changes and adapt to new circumstances, new situations. But if you're able to hold your center in this time, hold your center, be self-empowered, and practicing semen retention is a valuable tool for men, to stay in your center, to hold your sexual power, to move through this time with grace and with ease, and to really thrive in this world. It's like all this old system's kind of falling apart, and it was really only a matter of time, right? We were in a financial system based on debt, just an unsustainable world, right? And we're in this time where everything's kind of transitioning, transforming. And again, it can be quite difficult, if you're focused on this darkness and negative things that are being shoved in our face in the news. It can seem like a scary time, but if you let go of all that nonsense and just have fun, stay grounded, stay in your light, stay in your body, and have a daily practice where you're keeping yourself centered and balanced, you can really thrive in this time. This is really a chance to redefine yourself, to redefine who you are, right? It's like we've been told all these stories by our parents, by our society about who we should be, what we can accomplish, what our limitations are. But all these things are, they're just beliefs. They're just belief systems. You don't need to function in these old and outdated belief systems. And by cultivating your sexual energy, as men, you really need to build up this sexual energy through semen retention, because it becomes the fuel for your transformation, the fuel for your manifestation, to bring the things you want to bring into your life, to change the things that you want to change, to become the person you want to become, a man who is depleted of sexual energy is weak. He's dominated. His testosterone's low because he's ejaculating every day. He's stuck in these minimum wage jobs, working for other people, being underneath other people, just being a slave his whole life. When you start practicing sexual cultivation, you first of all start retaining your semen, but second, you learn to transmute that energy. That's the most important part of this, is transmuting the sexual energy. Building it up, that's a first step, but a lot of guys stop there. They just practice semen retention. They don't do anything with that energy, and it's not enough. The Hindus talk about the rising of building up the sexual energy, practicing brahmacharya, but then letting it rise up through the chakras, through meditation, through yogic practices, to experience enlightenment. So this raw sexual energy transforms into pure spiritual awareness, giving you your highest potential, your highest causality of the ability to create your reality that you choose. The Taoists talk about internal alchemy, and which is the refinement of this semen energy. So in the Taoist model, you just build up this gene, which is raw sexual energy. You build up this semen energy, but then through alchemical meditation, you transform it into chi. Again, you rise it, bring it up in the body, transform it into chi, which is pure energy, transforming it eventually into shen, which is the spiritual awareness. We have this theme of cultivating the sexual energy, building it up by practicing retention, but also refining it and turning it into pure spiritual energy. Because just the semen energy alone, just that raw sexual energy, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good. But when through meditation, through energetic practices, you alchemize that energy, you transform the state of it, you refine it. That's how you get the maximum benefit of it. When it's moving through your body, circulating through your energy channels, it expands into your energetic field, and you're radiating this expansive, powerful, potent, juicy sexual energy. And then whatever you're focused on, you become like a magnet too. And here's the thing, you really have to watch where your mind is going in this time. When you're watching CNN fear porn all day and you're focusing on like worst case scenario, focusing on this fear, all this limitation, I'm not going to have any money, I'm going to die from coronavirus, all these like ridiculous things, then that becomes your reality. But when you're focused on the positive things you want to bring into your life. What do you want to create? Who do you want to be? What do you want to have in your life? What fulfills you? When you stay focused on these things and you're cultivating your sexual energy, then you are going to be successful at whatever it is you do. So it's kind of where we're at, guys. If you want to thrive in this world, learn sexual cultivation, learn sexual kung fu, join my 6-week course if you want all the complete tools to tap into your sexual energy, to learn to last for hours in bed. Because that's the big thing, is like, it's one thing to practice semen retention, but a lot of guys do this and then, they get into a relationship. It's like, well, I guess, I want to have sex with this girl, so I just go back to these ejaculation habits, but that's depleting your energy. You can learn to have orgasms without ejaculating. You can learn to practice semen retention when you're in a relationship, still have full body orgasms, getting the highest benefit of sexual connection and semen retention, because sex is important. Because when you have sex with someone, sexual connection, you generate more energy together than you would either one of you could alone. So you generate this tremendous amount of energy. When you're doing sexual kung fu practices, you can harness that energy, you can store it in your body. Most guys just lose it through ejaculating, but when you can have sex, hold that energy, building that charge, circulating it throughout your body, it's incredibly powerful. And it's the greatest path, in my opinion. So if you want to learn how to do this, if you want to learn, become a master of sexual energy, last longer in bed, have full body orgasms, check out my 6-week course. Registration's open right now. So let's see what questions we have here today. It's always fun to hang out with you guys, answer some questions as best as I can. So throw your questions at me. Let's see what we got. What is your favorite method of moving sexual energy? Just as simply as using my, it's like there's a lot of these techniques, a lot of different techniques to doing it. And, I teach several myself, teach a lot in my course. But once you really get good at this, it's a matter of just using your mind to move the energy. And that's my preferred technique because it's effortless, but it takes a bit of practice to get there. In the beginning, you use more breath, or you use like certain physical engagements to help encourage the energy to move. But once you become proficient at this, it's as simple as just, boom, I'm going to place my mind in this area of my body and kind of drag that energy up with my awareness. And, that's it. So that's my favorite method now. But how do you break the Groundhog Day of edging? I really don't know what that means. You have to explain that, the Groundhog Day of edging. That's an interesting analogy there. All right, so I'm just answering questions right now. If you guys have any questions. How many minimum day count for semen retention? Good question. And I would say it's best, if you're new to this, it's best to kind of start small, set realistic goals for yourself. For example, if you're used to ejaculating every day, then going 4 days without ejaculating is going to be your first kind of milestone, and you're going to have more energy from that because now you're only ejaculating a quarter of the amount that you used to, right? So you're losing 75% less energy theoretically, right? If you're going 4 days instead of ejaculating every day. And then once you make that sustainable, then okay, well, I want to try going for a week. And then, okay, I'm doing that consistently. Now I want to go 2 weeks. So instead of like going from masturbating every day to being like, oh, I'm going to go the rest of my life, starting now, never ejaculating again. In theory, it sounds good, but it just doesn't work for most people. It's you can't always just like go from sitting on your ass all day to running a marathon, so to speak, right? So just set small goals for yourself and build from there, I think is a more sustainable way of approaching it. And it's important to understand that, I view a very critical aspect of semen retention is having a practice where you're transmuting the sexual energy. I always talk about this. You need to move it through the body. You need to move it out of the genitals, or else it's just going to build up here. You're going to have more sexual thoughts, intense desires to have sex or look at porn, whatever. It's just going to drive you crazy. But when you're circulating throughout the body, you're channeling it into whatever you're doing, then this sexual energy is driving your life now. And now you're really tapped into that power. How do I manifest a girlfriend like yours? Because you guys seem like twin flames. You have a really amazing partner, but it was a lot of, I had to do a lot of self-work to be able to attract a partner like that. I had my fair share of, shall we say, less than desirable partners, but it's always a reflection of where you're at. The people that you're attracting, the people you're connecting with, they're always mirroring you exactly. You know what I mean? So if you're not attracting the people you want to be attracting, it's telling you something about yourself. You can only attract that which you are in resonance with. So if you can only attract low vibe people, maybe you have some inner work to do, right? So you must be sort of become on the same level of the person that you want to attract, kind of the law of magnetism. Okay, if you don't get the course right this second, what's the best practice to implement for now? I would say working with the microcosmic orbit and doing breath work, slow, deep belly breathing it depends what your goals are, right? But I would say in general, microcosmic orbit is a very important practice. Will the information of your 6-week course ever, I think you mean, be like a book in the future? I think you're asking, will the information in the course ever be in a book? I've thought about making a book. I might, but it's video, and audio is a much better medium for learning these types of things. When you're reading a book, it just leaves so much to question. You say this helps with manifesting, so it's like a booster to help focus on law of attraction techniques. Yes, exactly, because your sexual energy is your creative energy. And so, again, if you're a man who's looking at porn every day, masturbating every day, depleting your sexual energy, you have no creative energy to manifest with, right? It's your creative sexual life force. So when you build up this energy and it's in motion, it's flowing, you're able to tap into this energy whenever you want. You have much, much better you have this strong reservoir of magnetic energy to bring what you want into your life. My life completely changed when I started practicing semen retention and sexual cultivation. I went from being a broke, smoking weed every day, drinking on the weekends, couldn't really, working minimum wage jobs. I went from being that to, I'm running a 6-figure business, traveling the world. I have an amazing partner, like complete transformation working with sexual energy. Will the course help me more step into my purpose and calling? Definitely. I teach, there's a lot of principles in the course, some exercises to figure out what you really want in your life and start to manifest that into your life. So I teach you how to put your sexual energy into creating your ideal life in the course. From the genitals, okay, so if you're channeling the sexual energy, where does it go from the genitals? There's many options. You can bring it, the easiest is to bring it up into the lower dantian, which is this energy center in the belly. Just bring it straight up from there into the dantian. You can store it in the dantian. That's the most simple way. You can bring it up into the heart. It kind of raises the vibration of that sexual energy an octave, starts to connect it with that heart energy. You can bring it up to the brain, enhancing your creativity, enhancing your thinking, opening the crown, spiritual connection. There's lots of possibilities of where to circulate the sexual energy. Okay, here's a question. How does psychedelics affect energy buildup? Good question. So the thing with psychedelics is that really any psychoactive substance, it burns up your gene to uh, create these high states of spiritual connectedness, and that's not inherently a bad thing. It's like it's kind of a trade-off. It's like, okay, you spend your energy but you gain all of this spiritual insight and things like that. So if it's like something you're only doing occasionally, it's not a big deal. But if you get, some people start to like really rely on these psychoactive substances, psychedelics, anything can be abused. And so they're like, oh, I need this for my spirituality, so I need to like get high every weekend, on mushrooms or ayahuasca, whatever. And this is the point where it's like it starts to drain your energy, right? You're giving your power away to something else. So if you're going to use psychedelics, in my opinion, for it to be balanced, it shouldn't be like a regular occurrence. The secret of my glowing skin. I don't really put anything on my skin. I eat healthy. I stay hydrated. I drink very clean water. I get sun. I was out in the sun all day today, practicing semen retention, building up my sexual energy. I guess it's a sum of all these things. Just healthy lifestyle. Okay, do I do one-on-one coaching? I only do one-on-one coaching if you've been through my 6-week course. So that's a prerequisite for coaching. But yes, I do. Can we take help from porn to practice edging? I do not recommend looking at porn, practicing edging. It completely pulls you out of your body. It overstimulates you, and it's just, it causes all these imbalances in your brain and your body. So I do not recommend using porn if you're edging, or in general for men. What are my thoughts on Taoist meditations versus other practices, specifically transcendental meditation, if you've done that? Good question. I really favor a lot of the Taoist practices. Again, I've explored so many different systems of energy cultivation. I was deep into yoga, Kundalini yoga, shamanic practices, tantric practices, Kriya yoga, all these different things I've explored. In my experience, the Taoist practices are the most grounded for me. The most supportive of a balanced development. The Taoist practices really stress sort of developing the lower centers first. You develop the lower dantian, fill it up with energy, then the middle dantian, fill it up, and then the upper dantian. So it's like this, you're starting from a foundation up. So first it's like getting your physical body into balance, really being grounded, connecting with the earth energy. So you have this strong foundation when you start to work with these really powerful spiritual energies, versus a lot of these other systems where they just go straight for these heavenly energies. Like, okay, we're going to bypass the lower centers and just shoot straight out the crown, bring down this cosmic energy. Well, you don't have any foundation. It's like building a building from the roof down. And a lot of these systems are very ungrounded. I got into Kundalini yoga, and it completely, it's a great system. It's very powerful, but it was very imbalancing for me. It was way too fiery. I was very ungrounded. I was kind of like living in this alternate reality, stuck up here somewhere above my head. So my experience is that the Taoist system is very, very grounded, and it stresses overall balanced cultivation. But, there's no single path for everyone. So I encourage you to explore different paths and see what supports your personal constitution best, because everyone's unique. Does life purpose come on its own, or should I seek something? I really have no dreams or desires. I've been a Buddhist for 11 years now. That's the mindset I had. There's certain things you may feel attracted to. Maybe exploring the Buddhist path is your life purpose. You know what I mean? But in general, that something's your path when the thought of it excites you. It's like, what did you enjoy doing when you were a kid? And you used to have that like just excitement about certain things. That's a good indicator of what you should be doing in your life. Your excitement is always a guide for you. It's your intuition telling you, hey, this is the path for you. This certain thing you feel passionate or excited about, you should explore that. That's kind of a good model to work with, I would say. Okay, where do you go to register for the course? New viewer of mine. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, go to the description of this live video. There's a link to the course. Instagram, there's a link in my bio. So you'll find all the information about the course there. How do you relate to Wim Hof breathwork? I think Wim Hof breathwork is great. I do a lot of it myself. Breathwork is very powerful. But I think that energetic practices, like specifically working with the energy meridians of the body and things like that, are very important as well. It just depends what your goals are. Wim Hof breathing is great for just overall health and balance, but I'm really into like building energy, like getting this tangible lightning feeling of energy going through your body, which is why I love Qigong practice and Taoist meditation. But again, just different things. It depends what you're trying to accomplish. Have I ever done ayahuasca? No, I have not done ayahuasca. I may try it at some point in my life. We'll see. Would sexual kung fu make me more aligned with the eternal Tao? I mean, cultivating your sexual energy, it's a huge part of your life. It's a huge part of your. Sorry, I got paused there. Cultivating sexual energy is a huge part of your life experience. It's a huge part of the human experience. So you really need to get your sexual energy in balance and in harmony. And again, in my experience, this is a tremendous fuel to use for spiritual transformation. If that's your goal, to feel spiritual connection, is working with sexual energy. That's one of the paths of Tantra and Taoist practices as well. So I would say definitely helps you align with, eternal Tao, whatever that is for you, the universe, whatever. How do you contrast Taoist practices versus neo-tantric practices? Really great question. So neo-tantra, typically this is more geared towards Western sex therapy. It's mostly like just sex therapy, kind of modern stuff with some Eastern terms kind of placed over it, right? Kind of appropriated into it. But typically it's like, okay, using sex to kind of as psychological healing and things like that, but there's often not like a deeper knowledge of working with the subtle energy of the body, actually cultivating your energy, right? And that's how the Taoist practice is different, where it's completely geared towards energetic and spiritual development. You're tangibly working with energy. You're developing your energetic centers, you're opening them up, harmonizing them, connecting with the energy of nature, the 5 elements, harmonizing these things, and using that for spiritual growth, right? So it's basically a difference between Western sex therapy and an overall system of energy development. It's been my experience anyway. What is the best breathing technique for endurance? I'm guessing you're talking about endurance during sex. Just deep, slow belly breathing. Relax on the exhale. Helps you stay relaxed, helps the pelvic floor stay relaxed during sex. That's crucial. Helps you to hold more arousal in your body, keeps you in that calm parasympathetic nervous state, which is crucial for ejaculation control. So to slow down your arousal climbing, just breathe slower, breathe deeper into your belly. By the end of the 6-week course, it'll make you more of a masculine man. Definitely, everyone who's gone through the course has gone through a huge transformation. You can see a lot of the testimonials on the page, or the course page, which there's a link to. But again, tapping into your sexual energy, when you're a man, cultivating your semen energy, it makes you more masculine, because that is your masculine essence, your semen. Okay, here's a question. Do I recommend retaining semen for as long as possible, or just certain periods of time and then ejaculating? So good question. It depends what your goals are. It depends what your practice is like. If you're not like transmitting that energy every day, then it's not going to do you as much good for going for really long periods of time, because the body actually starts to kind of atrophy the glandular systems, and your testosterone is going to drop after about 2 to 3 months. So cycling your ejaculation every month, 2 months, 3 months will be better for you in that situation. Versus someone who's like full on, you're meditating every day, you're doing your practice every day, you're like really tapped into this energy, circulating it, flowing it, kind of cooking it through alchemical meditation. Then you can go for as long as you want. So, it is, again, it's really what your goals are, what your age is, what your health is. There's a lot of factors to it. How do I feel about sunlight on genitals? I think it's extremely important for your health in general. I get some full body sun every day when I can. I was out in the yard naked today getting some full body sun. Sunlight on the genitals, sun exposure raises your testosterone up to 200%. I've seen studies on this, and just in general, the sun is important for us. We need sunlight, so it increases your vitamin D production, which is really important for your immune system and for your sexual health. So I highly encourage you to get sun. But get some sun where the sun doesn't shine, right? Who are some of the masters I've learned sexual kung fu from? I've studied with a lot of different teachers. Michael Wynn was one of my first. He's been one of my main teachers. He wrote or co-wrote Tao Secrets of Love, Cultivating Male Sexual Energy with Montauk Chia. He's a great teacher. Really explored really just a lot of Taoist practices. He's really pioneered bringing the Taoist practices to the West and kind of evolving sexual practice and internal alchemy. So I highly recommend him. I studied with Lauren Johnson, who's also, he's a student of Montauk Chia's. He's a senior healing Tao instructor. He's done a lot of pioneering with sexual practices as well. Who else have I studied with? Lots of different teachers. A teacher named Jude Trepani. He's not really well known. Studying with several teachers right now. I'm always, studying with people of all kinds of different lineages. Studied with a Tantra teacher in Maui as well. He ended up being kind of a pervert, actually. He would like steal girls' underwear and things like that. A lot of these neo-Tantra guys are kind of like that. So you kind of have to be careful. Are you able to feel the vibrations of other people? Yes. I mean, we all can. We all have this inherent ability. It's like you walk into a room, let's say you walk into a party and there's 3 different people and you kind of get an impression of someone. You haven't even met these people, but you're like, oh, I kind of like this person. I don't like this person. You're reading their energy. That's what you're doing. We all do this, and when you become aware of this, then you can really tap into it. Like, I'm very intuitive. I get a very good impression of people just by seeing them, just by being around them, but we all have this capability. And when you're doing some sort of internal energetic practice, this ability becomes enhanced. You've been doing the exercise that I taught yesterday in the webinar. Can't wait for the course. That's awesome. Glad that you liked it. Yeah, we did some cool practices on the online course last week or last night. Someone asked, my course is still available right now. Yes, it is still. It's open right now. Registration is open until April 17th. There's a link in this video on YouTube. There's a link in my Instagram bio for more information. Please say some word about edging. Edging it can either be harmful or it can be beneficial. It depends on how you do it. You can use edging to learn how to last longer during sexual stimulation. You can use it to learn how to have non-ejaculatory orgasms, to cultivate sexual energy. But if you're doing it the wrong way, you can make premature ejaculation worse. If you're doing edging with a lot of tension, if you're not drawing the energy out of the genitals, then it just builds up in the genitals and you just have this pressure cooker situation, which often leads to premature ejaculation or other things. So I made a video about this on YouTube, but basically there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do edging. When doing sexual kung fu, is there such thing as too much sex or sex too often? It depends. If you feel drained from it, it can be some people's, if you're like really deficient, if you're kidney deficient, then you're not going to be able to have sex as much. But in general, if you're doing sex in a balanced way, meaning you're not ejaculating every time, you and your partner in harmony, you're exchanging energy, then there's really not too much from my experience. Will sexual kung fu give you better control over all of your body's functions? It will definitely deepen your connection to your body, your ability to stay calm, stay centered, improve your digestion with the Qigong practices I teach, all kinds of things. So it will definitely change your relationship to your body. Yeah, that is a picture of a vagina. It's a yoni painting that my partner made. Did you know that semen retention was first taught in Indian history book Bhagavad Gita? Yeah. This is a common theme in many ancient texts, many ancient traditions. Is this concept of guarding the sexual essence? Due to coronavirus, we are quarantined, so will I waste my energy if I practice semen retention during this period? No, it's not going to be a waste of energy. This is the perfect time to be practicing semen retention because, again, as I was talking about at the beginning of this video, you need an edge. You need that edge of energy to stay balanced in this world. So many people are functioning in depletion. They're energetically depleted. And, when things are getting crazy, there's lots of crisis in the world right now. A lot of people are losing their shit. But by practicing semen retention, cultivating your sexual energy, you can stay calm, stay centered, and really thrive in this time, basically. Okay, so there's two questions that kind of relate. One is how to get past the first 20 days, semen retention. The other one is, well, okay, I'll address that one first. Again, you need to keep yourself busy. You need to keep yourself productive and creative. As you build up energy, you need things to put it into. If you're not like increasing your output of things that you're doing, being productive, creative, then the energy builds up and just kind of drives you crazy because you have nothing to do with it, right? So that's a big thing a lot of guys run into. They have nothing else to do with the energy but masturbate it out of them. So you need to develop yourself, exercise, do practice. Meditation is great for refining that sexual energy. As I mentioned, you want to be constantly circulating the sexual energy through the body, refining it. It keeps the energy in motion, keeps it transforming, and you start to channel it into everything that you're doing. Then you feel good. It's not a struggle to practice retention. For me, it's not a struggle to practice semen retention. It's part of my lifestyle. I enjoy it. It's never like, oh, I just really want to, ejaculate today. It's like, it just becomes part of my lifestyle because I have a daily practice. I'm cultivating the energy. I'm using it. I'm circulating it. I'm putting it into my business, putting it into my, my art, whatever I'm doing. So, that's kind of it. Okay, so this question, I practice semen retention for a month or so, but every time I lose my motivation and fall back to porn. Any tools to better control this addiction? Again, it's kind of what I've been saying, is how you need to keep yourself busy with things. You need to keep putting this energy into things. You want to start having habits that you turn to instead of porn. Whether that's exercise, whether that's, playing sports with friends, something like that. So when you're like, oh, I really want to look at porn right now, you have a plan, something that you do instead of that energy, something more fulfilling. And here's the question: how to easily let go of porn and how do you feel about it? Just as I was just saying, I feel porn is very destructive. It's controlling a lot of men, turning them into slaves, turning them into addicts, dopamine addicts, just wasting their life force every day, living in depletion. So again, the key to break a habit is to create a new habit that is more fulfilling and more balanced for you. So it's like, if you just try to take something out of your life, you have this empty space and something else is going to fill it. So you have to fill it with something more productive, something more fulfilling for you. This is the whole dopamine reward cycle, is like porn teaches men instant gratification, instant dopamine release just by clicking on a video. So you need to start doing things, that give you a more balanced and natural dopamine release, and that you actually have to work for. Things like exercise, personal development, art, creativity, whatever. At first, should you use muscular tension or breath work to move sexual energy? And do you do spinal cord breathing? Yeah, spinal cord breathing is just a basic, it's kind of a yoga stretch of the spine. I do similar things every day. It's good. That's a good, it's good to keep your spine flexible. It's basically like doing cow in yoga. It's a good spine opening practice. As far as muscular tension, it depends. I prefer a more effortless approach to circulating the sexual energy. Breath work is also very effective as well. But again, some muscular tension can help in the beginning because, as you squeeze muscles, it draws energy away from the genitals. Do I know any famous politicians, entrepreneurs, businessmen, historical figures that are or have practiced semen retention? Yeah. Steve Jobs practiced retention. His partner, there was an interview with one of his, I think like one of his girlfriends or something, was saying that he would have sex without ejaculating, because he wanted to retain that energy. So Steve Jobs, Nikola Tesla, Isaac Newton, he was celibate like his entire life. I don't think the guy ever got laid. I think he died a virgin, but because he was so like, he was like, no, I need this sexual energy for my creativity, for my, all the amazing things he was doing. So, there's lots of people who, you can do a little search on famous people who did semen retention. Do you agree with dopamine fasts? Yeah, I think it's like we're so overstimulated. If you're on your phone scrolling through social media all day, your dopamine levels are probably a little out of whack. And it's kind of hard to avoid in our modern age, right? But I think it's very important to like take some time away from all of this instant gratification and excessive stimulating. In the summer, I love to go camping, like just get out to nature. Spend a week away from technology, away from my phone and things like that. So I think it's very important. Can semen retention cause prostate cancer or bleeding? I do not believe, okay, I'm not a physician, I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not qualified to give medical advice, but I don't see how practicing semen retention would cause bleeding. I haven't heard of that happening for anybody. If that's happening for you, it's probably something else, and you should probably get it looked at, whatever it is. Prostate cancer, I did a video of this on YouTube. Basically, what I've seen is that the studies they've done trying to show that ejaculating frequently reduces prostate cancer were not very conclusive. There's so many factors they didn't take into place, like, well, did these people drink alcohol? Did they eat healthy? What else was going on in their life? So the studies were not very much in depth. I've been practicing semen retention for 7 years. I'm not saying I've never ejaculated in that 7 years, but overall, I've been doing semen retention for 7 years. Never had any prostate issues. Some of my teachers are in their 60s and 70s. They've been retaining their semen for decades. They never had prostate issues. 50% of men have prostate issues. Whether or not men ejaculate, this is a very, very common issue for men is prostate problems. The easiest way to remedy this, first of all, eat a clean diet. You're eating a bunch of toxins, toxic food, you're going to have problems eventually, right? Clean water, clean food, detox your body every now and then. But take a tennis ball, you place it under the perineum, and you sit on it so that you get this pressure up into the prostate area through the perineum. You do that every day, a couple minutes or more is great for your prostate. You're basically acupressing, massaging your prostate, and it will prevent prostate problems for you. Do you grow food? Yeah, I'm into gardening. I love gardening. I love growing my own food. Where it comes from. It's like, if everyone in this world should have a garden, right? It's like, can you imagine if everyone had a garden instead of a yard? Like, it's kind of amazing that we've been so disconnected from that. I think schools should have gardening programs. If kids in school learned like how to grow food and develop this relationship with like plants and food coming from nature, can you imagine how different our world would be? It's incredible. Anyway, so yeah, I like to grow. I like to garden. So by the end of the 6-week course, you'll have an abundant mindset. If you put in the work, if you work in the course, the results you get from the course really depend on what you put into it. But everyone who's done the course, gone through it, and there's a lot of accountability in place now. I have accountability coaches kind of guiding you through the course now. You definitely can really shift your mind state by going through the course. Infinite intelligence, think and grow rich. I'm not sure what your question was. I'm about to scroll back through it. Okay. If I've tapped into infinite intelligence, it's just a matter of allowing the subconscious mind to, what am I trying to say here? It's like when you open yourself up through meditation, through practice, whatever, just through inspiration by being in the flow, then yeah, you tap into this, what Napoleon Hill called infinite intelligence. I just call it being in the flow. And it's like, every possibility there is, every idea there has been or will be is out there. It's just kind of floating through the cosmos, right? When you're able to quiet your mind, you're able to activate your energy body. You become like an antenna for these things. When you activate your DNA, it's like 95% of our DNA is dormant, and they just call it junk DNA, which is nonsense. There's these certain capabilities that we haven't used in a long time, these superhuman capabilities, which are coming back online now that the magnetic field of the earth is weakening, all this higher vibration photon light is coming into us. Is why one of the reasons we're in such a chaotic time is like everything's transforming, so kind of went on a tangent there, but yeah, that's my thing on infinite intelligence. Do you recommend pranayama for transmutation? It depends on the technique, but pranayama is a really great practice in general. If you use more emphasis on like working directly with the genitals, moving that sexual energy upward, then you're going to have more success in transmuting the sexual energy with it. What kind of music do I listen to? I like a lot of different kinds of music. I'm a musician myself, actually. And lately I like a lot of, I like progressive house, some like chill step, some nice EDM kind of vibey stuff. I like a lot of instrumental music, kind of everything really. Triple helix DNA, yeah. What kind of food do I eat? I eat mostly plant-based. I do some animal products, but I like to eat a large percentage of, plant-based foods because they're full of life, full of nutrition, full of sunlight, right? It varies. I don't eat the same thing all the time. I kind of vary what I'm eating based on the seasons, which I think is kind of the best way to do it because your body has different needs at different times of the year, depending where you live, depending your environment. But basically I eat low carb, high fat diet, lots of protein, avocados. I like eggs, grass-fed butter for breakfast. And I make a smoothie every day, with like goji berries, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, black sesame seeds, moringa leaf, protein, different things like that. What's the best no-fat program for people who are addicted to porn? Well, I have a program, my 6-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, which is geared towards people who, if you're addicted to porn, you want to take control of your sexual energy, I go over that in the course. So check that out. What was your life and daily routine before NoFap compared to now? Yeah, well, I don't really call myself a NoFapper. I just practice semen retentions and sexual kung fu. But man, my routine before compared to now, I used to I was pretty lazy. I wasn't very accomplished. I just kind of get up in the morning, kind of do, I'm trying to think what did I even used to do in my life? It's been such a long time. Porn was part of my daily routine, whacking off to porn. I really didn't do a whole lot, well, I was a musician, so I was always into like playing music and stuff. But since practicing semen retention, a little bit before it actually, I got into like having a daily routine. I get up every morning, I do breath work, I do stretching, I do my Qigong practice and meditation, and just stay in the flow through the day. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here in a bit. I practice sexual kung fu occasionally, still not an expert, but I've had sex for an hour straight, controlling my ejaculation. My wife says it's too long. What do you think? I mean, clearly it was too long for her, but maybe not for you. I've had my personal longest session was 6 hours, 6-hour sex session, not ejaculating, having full body orgasms, doing sexual kung fu and stuff. So, it's really whatever, Do you listen to Linkin Park? No, I was never really a fan of Linkin Park. I listened to some really terrible music in my teens, though, for sure. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I'll be back on here next week, same time, so join me then. And again, my 6-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, is open for registration right now. It closes on the 17th, and I've got some flexible payment plans available. This is the only time I did interest-free payment plans because I know it's kind of stressful times for people, so make that most affordable for everyone. So check it out. There's a link in this video, YouTube. In the YouTube video, there's a link in the description. On Instagram, there's a link in my bio, so check it out. Okay, last question. Would you say cultivating energy and having a good diet go hand in hand? Definitely. You are what you eat. Your body builds itself out of the things you put in it. If you're eating garbage, what do you think your body's going to be like? You know what I mean? So definitely eat healthy. Without having partners, is there any way to orgasm? Yes, you don't need to have a partner to have full body orgasms, but it is easier with a partner because you have more sexual energy to work with, that polarity. All right, guys, thanks for joining. I will see you next time. Have a great day.